Hey everybody, just got to take a minute to intro this video. First of all, I've been using a new wireless mic and I've been having all kind of issues with it all morning. I've been trying to get them sorted out and I thought I had it all good. You can hear a little bumping and banging where I'm knocking into the mic with my shirt a little bit, but halfway through the video you're going to hear some really weird static noise. That's what I've been dealing with all morning, and it came back in the middle of the video. Unfortunately, I'm getting some pretty major dental work done here in about a half an hour, so I've got to get out of here, and I'm not going to be in the mood for shooting any more video later today. So this is it. This is going to be today's video. So you're going to have to just deal with about 15 seconds of really weird staticky noises in the middle of the video, and hopefully I will be able to get that sorted out. The other thing I wanted to point out is notice the tank behind me and how washed out it is in the camera. I've pointed out in the past how bright that LED is, and with my camera here just set on automatic, and it's just trying to sort out what it's supposed to be focusing on in the light levels and so on and so forth. It just makes it impossible for me to sit in front of that tank and shoot any kind of video where you're going to look at the tank and see it or me or one or the other. Like, the camera can't focus on both because there's just such an intense amount of light coming off that LED back there. So that's what it looks like this, and in just a second you're going to get to see what it looks like with the camera just pointing at the tank by itself. The same lighting that you're seeing right now is what you're going to see in the video. So I apologize in advance for the audio, and I will get back to you just as soon as my mouth is no longer sore from being at the dentist this afternoon. So thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you real soon in the next one. Hey everybody, this is my 40-gallon Waterfall tank. And when I came in this morning, the first thing I noticed was a big white line across the back of the tank. And so, of course, I did a double take and quickly realized what it was an old light bar that I had put in the back. I had one of those LEDs that you could turn on and you dim and change the color temperature and all that kind of stuff on it, and it never really worked, so I never really bothered with it, and ultimately I'd kind of forgotten about it until this morning when I saw it lying across the back of the tank. So I went in there and pulled it out. The wire had been disconnected long ago, so there was no electricity going to it, but this is what it actually ultimately was, and that is just a piece of PVC pipe, and it's got the rubberized waterproof LED, if we'll ever focus on it there. Let's see if we can get it to, there we go. So that's just one of those waterproofed LED strips, and it's been on there so long it's turned all brown and funky looking like that. And then I have some basic steel tie wire. It's just garden wire, and I have that wrapped around, securing it to the piece of PVC. So I'm really surprised the garden wire hasn't rusted through, and no, I'm not worried at all about the rust or the iron or steel or whatever being in the tank. I have super duper soft water. I have zero iron or anything like that in there, so getting a little bit of iron in the tank is not going to be bad at all, and the ferrous oxide or whatever is not going to hurt either. Actually, there is one spot right there where it's actually rusted through and broken. But ultimately, I had it secured in the tank by that little tiny nail. If you can see that, and you see how rusted through the tip of that nail is. It's like a needle at this point, and the other end is the same way. It's just this little tiny needle of metal that was once a nail, and apparently has rusted away until the point where it just fell out of the wood. I literally just had it underneath there, and then I nailed it up to the wooden framework that is what holds all of my Waterfall together and everything. So haven't used it in forever, and now it's no longer in the tank, and so I don't have to worry about it. The other thing that I've been tinkering around with this morning in the tank is my new little flow redeflector that I put on my 40-gallon HOB here, my little hang on the back filter that, of course, in this case is a hang on the side filter. And if you didn't see my video yesterday, my issue was that when the tank is full, and only when the tank is full, the water flows out and just flows right across the surface and pushes all my plants down to the far end, and it really gets on my nerves, and there's nothing I can do about it as long as the filter is set up the way it is. So this morning I topped the tank all the way off. You can see we are just about overflowing. In fact, the water is right up to where it's almost on top of the rim here. And yet you can see how all of my milfoil is still just hanging out right there in the middle. All that duckweed's just sitting perfectly still, and it's because of this little flow reed deflector. But I got a comment yesterday from somebody who suggested that the way I had it was simply going to force the water coming out of the filter straight down, and ultimately I was just going to be picking mostly filtered water back in this sort of loop. And I came down this morning and I looked at the water flow really carefully, and getting a little bit of that. You can see how that weed just slowed down and swirled around, and now it just got picked up on the filter. That couldn't have been better timing. But what happens is the moment the water drops a little tiny bit, and it happens fast in this tank, I get a lot of evaporation in it, and as soon as that happens, the water just flows out and flows straight down in a waterfall type effect anyway. And this intake here is always packed with the duckweed. In fact, I'll get it so packed with duckweed, I've got almost no flow coming out of here at all. And it's not because the filter needs to be changed, it's the restriction from the duckweed right there. So I've always had a fair amount of water being pulled in and swirled in right from the surface. But what I did this morning, just to make it a little bit better, was I came in here, and of course I got the really fancy, high-tech, expensive water deflector, which means it's fully adjustable. And I basically just did this. I just bent it outwards so that it now flows sort of down and forward rather than straight down. And you can see I've got that nice little bit of an angle to it, and that reduces the effect I was getting. But again, as soon as that water level lowers, I no longer have an issue with the water flowing across the surface, because it becomes a waterfall and flows straight down to the bottom anyway. And so I don't really think that I've changed a whole lot. The only thing I've really changed is, I don't have my issues with my plants anymore. As far as the way the filter works, that's not really making a whole lot of difference. So those are the only two things I really wanted to point out. I am just absolutely loving the way this Creeping Jenny is growing. It's strange. I've bought Creeping Jenny plenty of times in the past, and we've got Creeping Jenny all around the yard, and I've put Creeping Jenny in here from various locations that I've collected it around the yard, and it's never really taken off. I've never had a lot of luck with the Creeping Jenny. This is some stuff that I grabbed out of a really shady location out at Pretty Boy Reservoir, and just threw a few handfuls of it in the tank. And I mean, you can see how lush and tall it is. It's doing really, really well. Growing everywhere. It's all the way down. It's hanging into the water at this point. So there you go. That is going to be it for me for the day. I will not be back down in the fish room until it is time for lights out tonight. So this is going to be today's video. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget, this one here is my 40-gallon waterfall tank. I'll see you real soon in the next one.